is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are St. Louis.
5 years ago, baseball was treated to one of the most dramatic playoff games in history.
Back at the wall, it's off the wall. Graves has tied it. Unbelievable.
Game 6 of the 2011 World Series proved that the impossible was in fact possible.
And we are going to extra innings.
One strike was all Texas needed.
The Rangers a strike away from winning it.
One swing, and everything changed.
Graves hits it in the air to center. We will see you tomorrow night.
5 years later, St. Louis and Texas are fighting to get back to the Fall Classic. The Rangers are dominating their division, while the Cardinals continue to power their way back into the NL Central race. 3 games between the Cardinals and Rangers, coming up only on Fox Sports Midwest.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball, and it's the Colton Wong Hawaiian print jersey giveaway. And wouldn't you know, when it's your giveaway, you're back in the big leagues. Colton Wong called back up after a terrific stay with Memphis as he had 4 home runs in 28 plate appearances. It's a rematch of the 2011 World Series. It's the Texas Rangers and the St. Louis Cardinals. And with Jim Edmonds, the Cardinals Hall of Famer, and Jim Hayes, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to Cardinals baseball. It's Michael Wacha coming off a very good start last time out. Still trying to pick up a win. It's been over a month, but Wacha looked better last time against the Pirates. We'll see if that carries over to tonight.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you just want to see if he's comfortable. He's building off his last start. The wins will come, but the velocity, the angle of the pitch, and just him being comfortable on the mound is exactly what you're going to look for tonight. And they're facing another tough guy in Cole Hamels, and so it's a big night for pitching tonight.
Cole Hamels, Michael Wacha, rematch of the Fall Classic of 2011. Big crowd, over 40,000 here tonight. It's the Rangers and the Cardinals coming up. coming off a no decision against the Pirates in his last start. He allowed 2 runs on 3 hits in 7 innings. A lot of ground balls. The Cardinals, you may remember, won that game 9-3. Michael Wacha is Arkia in the driver's seat. It's been a while since he's posted a W. He'll try to change that tonight. Wacha and the Cardinals against the Rangers. Light Lime by Chevrolet. Visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealer for great prices on the all-new 2016 Malibu. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. Another warm day here in the Gateway City, along with Jim Edmonds and Jim Hayes. I'm Dan McLaughlin. 86 degrees. You think it's hot. Yesterday was hot. The day before that was hot. 86, we can handle that.
Definitely take 86.
Oh,
definitely.
Man. It was steaming here. Cardinals enjoyed the off day. Now it's the first of 3 against the Texas Rangers as Michael Wacha starts here in game number 1, as we mentioned moments ago. Coming off a start against the Pirates, 2 runs on 3 hits in 7 innings. Let's hope, Jimmy, it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, they looking forward to each start as he gets better, and looked like his last start he had a better feel, and something we've been waiting for all year.
Shin-Soo Choo. We saw him play center field for 1 year for the Cincinnati Reds, then signed a contract over $100 million with Texas. And he takes a ball outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. He's hitting .231. 1 home run. He's driven in 3. He's injured for the better part of this year. Wacha working very quickly here in the first 3 pitches of the game.
Looked like a pretty good pitch there. Everybody kind of took a step back, and yeah, I like when he works quick, gets the ball and throws it, works downhill.
There's a fly ball into shallow right center. Grichuk, a diving catch, and takes a hit away from Choo.
Nice play there by Randall. Looked like he got a little bit of a late break. Ball kind of got off the end of the bat or jammed him, and came in and made a really good play. In the shadows, you can see the sun, a little bit of shadows out there. It's not really easy to see the ball at this time of the day right now. You can get a good look right there. You can see the shadows in the sun, and sometimes when you're running, you run through those. It makes it a little tough once in a while.
Here's Ian Desmond.
You see right there, the right fielder's got him shading his eyes right now. Some days when it was like this, I would look for a patch of shade to stand in. Sometimes you have to be careful because you're out of position a little bit just so you can see, but it's more important to see the ball coming out of the hitter's area than it is to be in the right position.
Ian Desmond, longtime shortstop with the Washington Nationals, bypassed a contract extension that would paid him handsomely, near $100 million. And eventually he winds up on a one-year deal with Texas. Did not accept the qualifying offer either. And this guy can hit, and watch out. Right by Derek Lilliquist, who seems to be okay. Cardinals pitching coach near the top step of that dugout.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's funny when you can see it from up here how fast everything happens, and the ball hit the little blocker in front of the dugout, and Derek maybe reacted about 3 or 4 seconds after. If that ball would have hit him, he would have had a chance to move.
It's hard not to think about Juan Encarnacion when you see a ball like that. Little chopper charging. Diaz makes the play. For those that do not remember or recall the story, Aaron Miles was very good at letting a ball get deep with 2 strikes and just slapping it and staying alive at the plate. Well, he slapped it, unfortunately went right into the eye of Juan Encarnacion, and that ended his career at the on-deck circle.
Yeah, I was standing on the top step, and I remember that very well. It was a slider that Aaron just basically let. It was a backdoor slider that he let travel, and it's one of those things where talk about how late you can wait when the ball's away from the plate or on the outside half of the plate. He slapped at it and literally hit it right into the on-deck circle.
Here's a foul ball.
Kind of like this.
We get asked all the time about Encarnacion. How's he doing? His whereabouts. We know he's in the Dominican. And I'm curious if you or any of your teammates from that 06 team have had the chance to catch up with him.
I haven't heard, to be honest with you, at all, and his name really hasn't even come up, but they said we're going to have a good turnout for this reunion this year, so hopefully his name will be on that list.
Yeah. Good looking rookie here, Mazzara, as he slaps it the other way. That's Johnny Peralta over to Jed Jerko, making his first ever start at first base in the major leagues. Michael Wacha, a 1-2-3, top of the first. Here in St. Louis at Busch Stadium, and leading things off will be the red hot Matt Carpenter, followed by Aledmys Diaz and Matt Holliday here in the first. Stephen Piscotty, Johnny Peralta, Yadier Molina, Jed Jerko, Randall Grichuk, and the pitcher Michael Wacha. Cardinals facing one of the toughest lefties still, in many ways, in the prime of his career, and that's Cole Hamels, who's 6-1.
You said still. I was looking at that. 11 years in the big leagues, and he's only 32 years old still.
Right.
So it's been around for a long time and got a long time to go.
Matt Carpenter looks at a ball. Hamels came to the major leagues as a 22-year-old with the Phillies back in 2006. 7 different years. He's been over 200 innings and in double figures in wins. Got a good fastball, throws a cutter, outstanding changeup. You'll notice in the lineup tonight for Mike Matheny, just one left-handed batter, and that's Carpenter. Lefties against Hamels, hitting just 182.
I still believe you got to throw that lefty in there, though. If not one, maybe two. Always got to keep the left-hander on the mound. Kind of, I don't know if the right word is just balanced, or not let him just get into a rhythm where he can just kind of throw the ball away from the righty, cut the ball in. You got to throw a lefty in there so he just can't overthrow and miss up and away every now and then. He's got to kind of pitch to both sides of the plate.
And Carpenter draws a leadoff walk, his 40th of the year. That's something that Hamels doesn't do very often.
And he's not happy right there. You can see him asking if the pitch was down, and he took a long walk to the plate right there to see what was going on, but balls around the plate.
Look at the Dobbs defense. Mazzara with 4 outfield assists in left, Desmond in center, 5 errors. Shin-Soo Choo is in right. Beltre, Andrews, Odor, fielder along the infield, and Bobby Wilson is behind the plate. Aledmys Diaz. You know, the big talk for, I would say, a month and a half was, when will Diaz move up in the lineup and hit in the second spot? Well, he's had 90 plate appearances at this spot in the order and batting just .222. He's cooled off a bit.
Well, in fairness, you know, it's bound to cool off, and you waited long enough to move him up there, and pitchers are starting to see him more and more. Scouting reports are starting to get around, so kind of timing isn't his best friend with that, but you know, just give him a chance. He's not going to hit .390 the whole year. You can see guys are making adjustments, and now it's his turn to make the adjustment. I know we keep talking about that, but that's just part of being up here and learning with a really short curve, is you just have to kind of learn on the fly, and he's going to have to keep improving and learning what he can do and what people are going to do against him.
He is 4 for his last 26. Still leads all rookies in average and runs scored, and that's not just the National League but all baseball. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
You know, the biggest thing is too, as we talked about this a lot, is learning what to hit and what you can hit, what you can't hit, and learning that their guys are really trying to set you up. They're not always throwing strikes. They're throwing balls on purpose. They're trying to get you to look at something in off the plate, make you think that they're going to challenge you when they're really not trying to. So it's a process when you get to this level of learning what's going on, and sometimes you just have to go out there and take it for a while until you can really figure out to the best of your ability, because it's hard for someone to go out there and tell you, well, hey, listen, he's going to throw you a fastball in for effect, and then that one time he misses and throws you a strike for that fastball in, it messes up your whole game plan.
Double play ball hit to Odor, to Andrews on to first, and it's a double play. 4-6-3. Talking with the Rangers broadcasters about their defense, they say that up the middle, it is as athletic of a group that you'll find.
And that's one of those things you always look for. I think the years of the Cardinals in the past have always had good athletic teams. You see a guy like Matt Carpenter can move around. You can throw him at first, second, third, obviously. Probably play shortstop with no problem. Guys in the infield, outfield. See Matt Holliday can move to first base. He can run. Athleticism is a huge key to having successful teams, because you can always just throw a guy out there and let him, you know, suck it up for a couple of days, give a guy a break, replace a few guys, and you can see there's always injuries like we've dealt with in the past, and the more guys you can move around, the better off you're going to be in the long run.
That's what the Cardinals are thinking right now with the addition of Kolten Wong back from Memphis. As you get a look at the longest tenured left fielder in the game, that's Matt Holliday. Holliday bounces it to short, deep in the hole. Elvis Andrews, and he makes the play. So the walk erased with a double play. Holliday grounds out, and we're scoreless at Busch Stadium. That is Jeff Bannister. And a look at his lineup. Chu, Desmond, Mazzara, then Beltre, Fielder, Odor, Andrews, Wilson, and the pitcher Cole Hamels. And the Texas Rangers trying to run away with the American League West. A lead of 6.5 at the start of play today. One of the best records in all of baseball at 42-25 as Beltre just takes it the other way. And a leadoff base hit. Get a look at the Hyundai pitch arsenal for Michael Wacha. Lots of ground balls in his last start. As a matter of fact, the Cardinals staff, the ground ball rate is 50%. And he's got the fastball, the change, the cutter, and the curve.
It seems like every time I'm in the booth, something about the shift comes up.
Yep.
I'm hoping that happens more often than when I'm just here, but you can see them playing the shift, and just throws a fastball out over the plate and slaps it to right field like no big deal.
Got a tough start this season for Prince Fielder. Batting 197 among qualified hitters, second from the bottom. And the guy at the bottom is going to surprise you too. Giancarlo Stanton hit at 193 this year. Last year Prince just destroyed right-handed pitching, hit 343, and this year his average at 199.
Very unusual to see Prince hitting that low. He's such a good athlete for a big guy and such a force in that clubhouse too.
Carpenter, Peralta, Jerko, double play. With the shift, it's Peralta, and he's used to doing that, the former shortstop, turning that double play. Let's go around the horn, presented by Dobbs. Holiday, Grichuk, Piscotty in the outfield. Peralta, Diaz on the left side of the infield, Carpenter and Jerko on the right. Molina is behind the plate. That's right, Jed Jerko, first ever start in the big leagues at first base.
That surprised you a little bit when you saw that?
It did. I had to double check it.
As much as he moves around, and I kind of saw how it starts by position today, and I thought, oh, surely he started at least even this year, but first ever.
And you understand why. Because of Hamels, it's so tough against left-handed batters. But still, you look at Adams, you look at Moss, how well they're swinging the bat, and you want them to play every day, at least in Adams' case for sure. And Moss has been very good off the bench and one of the hottest hitters right now in the game. What caught Molina, and it's no balls and 2 strikes on Odor.
Yeah, you got a lot of guys coming off the bench, and hard to give them playing time and hard not to give them playing time when every time you throw someone out there, they're doing the job.
But as you mentioned, this team has got versatility. They've got guys that can shift around the infield, some that can play the outfield. There's a good changeup. And the first strikeout of the night for Michael Wacha. Midway through 2, no score. great interview with Colton Wong on the pregame. Nice to see him back.
Yeah, great to see him, and he may be the happiest guy inside the ballpark today. Wong back with the big club after a sizzling 7 days in Memphis. New mentality, Colton told me, speaking of his stay at AAA. I've got to get back to having fun out there. The guys in Memphis helped me remember that. Colton also added that new wrinkle at Memphis center field, a position he played as a freshman in college. Colton told me reading the ball off the bat needs a little work. But, Dan, as he told me, I'm athletic enough. I know I can play a solid center field.
How about Jed Jerko at first base here tonight?
Jed Jerko has played exactly 1 inning at first base in his career. June 8th of last year. That goes for spring training, minor leagues, college, high school, maybe little league. That's according to Jed. 1 inning. He has been taking ground balls there for nearly a week. Jed was excited to be at first. I'll be great, he told me. Mike Matheny told me, as you guys referenced, they wanted to get Jerko's bat in the lineup. They didn't want to move Matt Carpenter because, as Mike Matheny put it, he's found a real comfort zone there, Dan.
All right, Jimmy, thanks. We appreciate it.
Sounds like Hayes probably has played as much first base as Jerko has.
About as much as I have, too, over there. This could be quick work here for Cole Hamels. It brings in Yadier Molina. He had an infield hit Wednesday night. The Cardinals have 65 of those this year to lead all of baseball. This guy has been a workhorse for St. Louis. Molina has caught 90% of the innings this year, and the most in all of baseball.
Seems like every year it's that way.
Yep. It's popped foul behind home plate and out of play. How do you think Colton Wong will make the transition to center field? How tough that might be for him at this level?
Well, I don't think it'll be tough at this level, any tougher than it would be at any other level. I would think at this level, at least you have scouting reports. He's familiar with the guys. He's familiar with his pitching staff. The only problem is if you make a mistake at this level, it is magnified beyond belief. But he's a good athlete. I definitely think it would be tough to read the ball off the bat at times. But the good thing he's got going for him is he is playing second base, and he does see that same kind of a read.
Ball carries near the track, and the catch is made by Ian Desmond. 5 pitches in the bottom of the second for Cole Hamels. Challenge to benefit prostate cancer research. So far, after 4 days, this week, $1 million has been raised. You can make a pledge by going to homerunchallenge.org. Our Toyota keys to the game, they concern tonight's starter, Michael Wacha.
Pretty much building on his last start. something we've been talking about this year, especially with Adam Wainwright. We've seen him get better and just really take that feeling of going out there and having a good start and just carrying over to the next one and keep working on the same things, but just get that good feelings.
Elvis Andrus leads it off, and a breaking ball drops in for a strike.
It's almost like you talk about with Colton Wong. You know, you send him down in the minor leagues, you get him hot, you get him back here and get him back in the lineup, and he feels good about himself, and not when he's at the big leagues. Like I said, everything's magnified and you're struggling, you have your head down. It's tough when you know everybody's looking at you when you're struggling.
Here's a 1-1. Catches the corner. Andrus didn't like that. Missouri Lottery Fox Track showed it was a strike. Walker working very quickly here tonight. The 1-2. Michael trying to pick up his first win since April 23rd. He's gone 9 starts, this being the 10th since that win. His record 0-6 with a 5.82 ERA. The 1-2. Just missed on the inside corner.
Get a good look right there of a nice major league fastball, 95 miles an hour. How quick it gets from the hand to the glove, and then the movement. Maybe get another good shot here.
But with the changeup there, full count.
That's a great camera angle.
Well, to me, it just shows how fast and the speed of the game and the velocity at which these guys throw. It's incredible. The split-second decision of a hitter. 3-2. Check swing. Good velocity tonight from Walker. He's hit 96 a couple of times.
First inning was around 92, 93, which is good because he looked like he wasn't really trying, and then now he's stepping it up a notch and still doesn't look like he's trying too hard.
And that's the thing about Walker, Jimmy. It's not been a question of velocity. He hasn't dropped at all in that category. What has been the issue, and you talked about it in the open, it's been location and getting the downward plane of that fastball.
Your ball stays flat on the same line. It doesn't really matter how hard you throw. You see a good pitch right there, down and away, got an angle on it. But yeah, if your ball's flat and stays up in the zone, you're going to get hit. And we've so much talked about Albert Pujols and that home run he hit against Kyle Farnsworth at 101 miles an hour, and that's a perfect example. Kyle was nasty, but his ball was pretty flat at times, and just got to get your bat on the ball and let it happen.
Andrus, by the way, with 9 steals this year, and it brings in Bobby Wilson. Hit 358 in May. Now he's 4 for his last 31. Well, you made that transition at times to first base, and this is one of the trickier plays for a first baseman, holding a runner on.
Yeah, you're just hoping over there that you see the ball one and that you don't have Carlos Martinez whipping it over there at 94.
With sink.
Yeah, but the good news is he's an infielder. I mean, for me, it was just a little bit tougher. I was a little bit just more paranoid. You know, he's used to receiving a throw from the pitcher at second base or some pickoffs. And speaking of tsunami, I do remember in spring training, Matt Holliday was saying, "I'll play first base at any time you want. Let me know, as long as he's not pitching."
Speaking of Holliday, he's at left tonight, makes that catch, and Andrus back to the bag at first. The 2016 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot is here. All you have to do is head to Cardinals.com to choose your All-Star Game worthy stars. Leading by 77,000 votes over Buster Posey, it's Yadier Molina. And Molina trying to make it another fan vote that would put him in. He could join Ozzie Smith and Albert Pujols of the stars of the Cardinals that led their position in fan voting 5 or more times. He's been to 7 consecutive All-Star games. Hamels bunts it in the air. The catch is made by Wacha, and Andrus back to the bag safely at first. So first time through this lineup, and Michael Wacha for the most part has been pitching ahead. That's also a big key for him.
It is a big key, and just strike one literally is strike one, but to the hitter it's, uh-oh, what's coming next? You know, normally ball one, you know, at least in the next 2 pitches, 75-85% of the time you're going to get a fastball in the next 2 pitches to catch you up. Strike one, you might not, that might be your only fastball of the at bat. So it definitely plays with your mind a little bit when you're hitting, because you're always worried about, you see 4 pitches, any one of those 4 pitches at this level can be a strike. So that is always on your mind.
The Rangers came in, their pitchers 1 for 12 this year, but sacrificing, not foreign to Cole Hamels after all his years in the National League with the Phillies. Chu is robbed by center fielder Randall Grichuk first time up, and he looks at a strike. Missouri Lottery Fox tracks right down the middle. The Cardinals have allowed just 22 stolen bases this year. As Yachty takes a peek at Andrews, who's leaning towards second. On a hop to Matt Carpenter. A flip to Jerko. And Waka is through 3. No score from Busch Stadium. Is brought to you by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals, and by Steel Outdoor Power Equipment. Quality, reliability, and value. Find a servicing Steel dealer at steeldealers.com or search STIHL. Bottom of the third, there is no score. Mike Milken is our guest here in the bottom of the third as we talk about Father's Day coming up, and obviously it's always good to see you, and we're trying to raise a lot of awareness and money for prostate cancer research.
That is true, and it's a pleasure to be with you. We cannot thank.
As Jerko on the first pitch lifts a fly ball into shallow right.
We cannot thank Major League Baseball, the Cardinals, Fox enough. In the 21 years we've done this, the death rate from prostate cancer has dropped by 50%. There's 4 million men who are going to spend Father's Day with their families who had prostate cancer, living normal lives, and 1.4 million who had advanced prostate cancer. So thank you, and go to homerunchallenge.org.
How did this all start for you?
Well, it started that I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. I had been funding all forms of cancer for about 20 years, knew nothing about prostate cancer. And when you consider that 1 in 2 men get cancer in their lifetime, 1 in 7 get prostate cancer, there wasn't a lot going on. And the idea behind this was come out to the ballpark, remind your dad to get tested for prostate cancer, that simple blood test, and early detection. And because of new drugs, plus early detection, and the most important program in the country is this Home Run Challenge with Major League Baseball. A man has a 99% probability of living 5 years or longer that's had prostate cancer. And I'm a poster boy for those with advanced prostate cancer. And I'm the happiest guy to be in the ballpark in my 23rd year since I was diagnosed. And the exciting thing just to be in St. Louis is you have one of the world's leading cancer hospitals in the world here. You got one of the world's leading research institutes, and you have the best fan base of any ball club in baseball.
In terms of how early, in terms of the age of when you want to get tested, what's your advice?
Any family history, 40. African-American man, 40, because your death rate is higher and the incidence is higher. But outside of that, no later than 50.
Sure.
From that standpoint.
And since you started this, and again, what year was that with Major League Baseball?
We started 21 years ago, so 1996. This is our 21st year.
How much money has been raised?
$45 million from home runs, and you can go to homerunchallenge.org, pledge money. We think there'll be 200 home runs hit this week, culminating, ending on Father's Day this Sunday.
Well, short-lived here in this inning, but we got the message out.
We did, and remember, there's 2 new programs. Send in your first time you went to a ball game and your favorite home run shot.
Good to
Thank
see
you, and let's see some home runs tonight.
You got it. No score after 3. Showdown between the Rangers and Cardinals. That's at 3 tomorrow. Then it's baseball night in America. Pirates and Cubs at 7 on your local Fox station. Or you can watch it live on Fox Sports Go. 2016, the 90th anniversary of the 26 World Championship Club. Friday, July 1st, 30,000 fans ages 16 and older take home what is the wearable replica 1926 championship ring, courtesy of Edward Jones, and it's also a Cooper Tires fireworks night. Already starting to talk about the 4th of July as this summer is flying by. Waka back to work, and a breaking ball taken high. It's Ian Desmond, Nomar Mazara, and Adrian Beltre. There's been one hit in this game. That was by Beltre to right.
My seat is warm. It's nice.
Tell you what, it was a quick inning with Michael Milken.
Your favorite quick innings interviews.
You know me too well already. He's done a wonderful thing with this and raising all that money, and the association with Major League Baseball. Joe Torre very instrumental in this process as well, and our colleague Tim McCarver. That's fouled back to even it up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. This is the final stop of what is a 10-game road trip for the Texas Rangers. They've had 18 home runs and scored 40 runs on this trip. They've won 20 of their last 26. So the Cardinals catching Texas maybe at not a very good time from the Cardinals' perspective. This team is red hot.
Well, even better for Michael Wacha to go out there and see what he's got, and he's making some good pitches like that one right there, but he's doing the job tonight, and that's what you're looking for. He's been throwing the ball downhill, keeping the hitters off balance. They've hit the ball hard on the ground a few times. You look at this pitch, you can't make a better pitch than that. And I'm sure as a hitter, you're shaking your head, but strike's a strike, I guess. Sometimes we don't get them when we want them, and then sometimes you get them when you don't want them.
Here's Mazzara, grounded out to third. Drops in for a strike. What's been surprising for the Cardinals this year, they played 33 home games. They have lost 18 of those. You just think in this atmosphere, the way that they have played since the stadium opened up in '06, you wouldn't have that. To put it in perspective, the Reds have a better home record right now than the Cardinals.
And that's the thing that people keep asking me, and it's like, you know, fans wonder why or how, or it's not a magical deal when you walk into the stadium. You're just going to throw your glove on the field and win, but you expect after all these years for the, you know, to win at home, and you know, sometimes crazy years things just don't work out that way. Try to play 500 on the road, which in better record at home, but I mean, you try to win every series, and just right now it's not really working out for them at home. I'm sure that will turn around by the end of the year.
So there it is, through 33 home games. Cardinals head back out on the road beginning Monday night in Chicago. The Cubs win again today at Wrigley Field. They beat Francisco Liriano and the Pittsburgh Pirates. So the Cardinals, as we speak, 10 games back as Beltre fouls that back. What a career Beltre has put together. Wow. Right back up the box, and he's 2 for 2.
How about that camera angle too? See that fastball just out over the plate and up. The last time he pushed the ball through the infield, the ball was out over the plate but down. Just kind of shot it into right field, and that ball's up. You can see him take a bigger swing. It's one of those things as a hitter you can really see when the ball's up in the zone. Your body just lets you know, and you just let it fly. When the ball's down, you kind of just slow up at the end and try to kind of force it somewhere instead of really trying to do too much. As if you try to do too much with the ball that's down, you end up just beating it in the ground.
Well, you would think at the time with the trade that brought Fielder from Detroit to Texas that he would put up monster numbers in that ballpark. There aren't many ballparks that can hold him, and at that place, when it heats up in the summer, ball flies out of there. Ian Kinsler went the other way with the Detroit Tigers, and he's been what you would expect. Ian Kinsler, very good player, second baseman, former Mizzou product, has hit .290, Fielder .271. And what's surprising, the 31 home runs hit by Fielder, and Kinsler is actually ahead of him. You know Prince pretty well.
Yeah, we went down and said hello to him before the game started today, and it's just one of those things that changes scenery. It's not always great. Different guys hitting around you. You get into a team where there's maybe not as much of firepower around you, even though it's a good team, and you might not get pitched to as much, and it takes some guys a lot of time to really figure that out. And then when you take too long to figure it out, you don't hit the pitches you're supposed to.
Good change up there to Fielder. Strikeout number 3. Yeah, General Manager John Mozeliak, he's been busy this past week with the draft. With more on that, let's check in with Jim Hayes.
He has been busy, Dan. The Cards today signing their top draft choice, 17-year-old shortstop Delvin Perez. The 6'2", 180-pounder put on a uniform today, took some BP, fielded some ground balls. Well documented, he had tested positive for an unnamed PED before the draft. He said today he had no idea what he was taking. As for being with the Cardinals, Perez said, quote, "It's been my dream to get here." Cardinals Director of Scouting Randy Flores said Perez will start in the Gulf Coast League, and Randy said they plan to give him time, plenty of time to develop. Flores saying at 17, he's several years younger than many players in the draft, Dan.
All right, Jimmy, thanks. First hit for the Cardinals off the bat of Carpenter, on base for the second time to go along with a walk. Perez fell in the draft to the Cardinals because of the PED issue, and depending on the publication that you read, projected more than likely top 5, top 10. Some even thought at one point he was going to be the #1 pick, but congratulations, he's signed his contract and now in the Cardinals organization.
Well, an unnamed source that I spoke to earlier today said that they lucked into that because they think he's a great talent, and he was supposed to go a lot higher, like you said, and they're very fortunate, they think, to get that draft picked right there, and they think he's going to be a stud. And you can see 6'3", he's pretty thin right now, but you think about this, he's 17 years old, so they're going to send 2 17-year-old kids to the Gulf Coast League, both of them in the first round. Both they're tremendously high on already, and they're both going to grow into their bodies, and they're big kids. I gained 50 pounds since high school.
Is that right?
When I got to the big league. So, and I was 17 when I got drafted. So, not everyone's going to be gain 50 pounds, but you know, if he puts on 20, 30 pounds, 20 pounds, geez, he's going to be a stud. And they really like what they see. And if he spends 4 years in the minor leagues, you know, he'll still be younger than a lot of college juniors. So, you know, there's a lot of room for him to grow, and they're really high on him. And it's pretty exciting times when you get 2 first-round picks, and you can send them both together and let them play and learn from each other.
It's a big draft, not only for the Cardinals in terms of the picks, but they also could be spending a lot of money on the international market. 0-2 pitch and a ground ball hit left side, slow, and the stretch at second by Odor, and no punch.
That was the punchline in itself.
6 is a serious number at On the Run when the Cardinals score 6. Any size drink, just 50 cents the next day. That's coffee, fountain, or frozen drinks. When they score, you pour. At your nearest On the Run, you earned it. And we're kidding, but for fans that did see it, Odor was the young man that delivered a blow to the face of Jose Bautista, and it was a shot.
Semi self-defense and semi taking the not taking any chances.
Here's Holiday. And here's that play that we're referring to as a Sunday afternoon. Texas at home. Beltre the force, and then Bautista took out Odor, and then watch what took place after that. Bam.
Seem to think he's done that before, or at least been taught.
He actually had an incident in the minor leagues, and it was a very much a similar situation, and landed a right hand. And there's been some bad blood. If you remember what happened last year with Bautista, the bat flip in the postseason, that was against Texas.
And he got slid into earlier in that game. Also, I was watching that game on TV actually, and you know, when I turned it back on and saw that they had a fight, it didn't really surprise me after the first slide earlier in the game. And it's one of those things there too, is if that rule's not into place, that's a normal slide, no big deal. Bautista also got hit right before that, so you know he's going to try and go in hard. And the thing for that to me is, if I'm running from first base to second base, I'm forgetting about that rule, and I'm running hard to slide a breakup too, and I'd slide right past the bag if I had to. I mean, I just still don't agree with that rule, but You don't want to see anyone get hurt. And actually, I thought that was a pretty clean slide. But because of the rule, everything, all you know what breaks loose, and it ends up turning into more probably than it should have been.
So 2 outs after the strikeout of Holiday. Third for Hamels tonight brings in Piscotty. His career average against lefties at the big league level, and he's approaching the year anniversary of his call up, is .365. Two outs, runner at first. That pitch taken inside. Cole Hamels, the 2008 World Series MVP. Had 5 postseason starts. He went 4-0 with an ERA of 1.80 in their run to a championship with the Phillies. That was back in 2008. There was the changeup. He developed that in high school. He broke his arm as a sophomore. And then when he was able to throw a baseball again, he was instructed not to throw a curveball. So he had a low to mid-90s fastball and then developed his changeup as his secondary pitch, and it's become a great one at this level.
I mean, you look right there, 3 pitches in a row. He's 1, 2, 3 quality pitches through him. A nice hard fastball in off the plate. Get you thinking, was he trying to challenge me? Was he not? And then you get the 1-0, opposite of what I said earlier, but you get a 1-0 count. Those are really, really good changeup. I mean, he's got one of the better changeups in the game.
Runner goes and a no throw. And a stolen base for Diaz, his 2nd of the year. Piscotty leads all of baseball with runners in scoring position. The Cardinals hitting .313 with runners in scoring position. That's best in baseball.
Great jump by Diaz right there with the lefty on the mound.
It's all about getting a good read with that lefty, isn't it?
It is, and sometimes you can kind of see a lot of lefties kind of tip their move depending on how they step when they come set, and sometimes you can get a good read and know that he's not throwing over and go on first movement like he just did right there. It seemed like he got a really good jump, either taking a gamble or saw something in there.
BJC difference maker, highest average with runners in scoring position. The Cardinals .313 and the Red Sox Reds. Tonight's opponent, the Rangers, at .287 and the Rockies.
See that thing about Cole Hamels right there is there's just another quality fastball that rides in on his hands. It's so nasty against righties because he has that crossfire a little bit. Throws the fastball in. You can see right here, just has that little bit of angle towards you as a right-handed hitter, and then you speed up, you get the changeup. Then you don't get the changeup, you get the cutter, which is down and in. You got to go after it a little bit earlier than you want to, and then it ends up being a cutter behind you. He's got all the weapons, and that's why he's been pitching the way he's been pitching throughout his career.
3-2, taken a bit high. The previous pitch he was frustrated with, and you can see him mumbling right now to himself. Some choice words, I'm sure, for the home plate umpire, Mark Rippinger. Second walk issued by Hamels. He's shaking his head still. He's upset.
I mean, a lot of guys think they should get every pitch, but I think those are pretty good quality pitches, and it's kind of, you see some, that's one thing. I think when the shortstop and the second baseman and the center fielder are watching the game on defense and then you're hitting, you get a little bit more upset when you see pitches that aren't called strikes when you're on defense and they're called strikes when you're hitting. So it's a little tough sometimes, and you get a little bit more frustrated maybe than the guy that can't see as well, doesn't get a good angle of the strike zone like you do. And obviously Cole has a great angle of the strike zone from where he's standing. He's throwing the ball.
And now it's Johnny Peralta, lined out to third, first time up. Hamels was the 17th overall pick in 2002, a draft that produced Brad Thompson and Kyle McClellan for St. Louis. There's a fly ball into right. Breaking back was Chu. Comes in to make the catch. Cardinals strand 2, their first 2 of the night. We head to inning number 5. We're scoreless in game 1. Poling, who is watching the game tonight. Happy birthday, Luke. 6 years old. Never misses a game. Odor, Andrews, and Wilson. We showed you the punch by Odor since he returned from his suspension. It's been 13 games he has hit. And he hits this one a ton into center field, and it's 1-0 Texas. Last 13 games, 6 home runs and now 12 runs scored. 1-0 Rangers. Well, with the Rangers in town and where that ball landed makes me think of David Freese.
That young man's got a little bit of pop right there, huh?
Yes, he does.
See a 4-seam fastball right down the middle, and at this level, that's what you're supposed to do with it. That's some big time pop for a second baseman.
And it brings in Andrews. This is the second time the Cardinals have faced the Rangers since the 2011 World Series. Rangers swept St. Louis at Busch Stadium in June of 2013. If you're wondering, 5 players remain on each side from that 2011 World Series roster. Wainwright, who was injured that year. Yadier Molina. People forget Matt Carpenter made his debut that 2011 season as he makes that play. First out here in the top of inning number 5. Brings in Bobby Wilson. So Josh Hamilton, who's done for the year with Texas, Andrews, Beltre, Lewis, and Holland. For the Cardinals, Jaime Garcia, Yadier Molina, Lance Lynn. So we flash back to that memorable night. Game 6, one of the greatest individual performances in World Series history. The gentleman, by the way, that got that ball, the story that he told, he stuffed it right down his pants. That's what he did. He got the ball, stuffed it down his pants because he knew it would be a famous home run, which it was.
And he knew he was going to get attacked.
And he gave that ball to David Freese. Those two met afterwards he was there with a buddy of his. They picked up tickets right at the last minute. They made a choice. They said, look, we're going to get this ball one way or another. We're going to get it. The problem was his buddy had a Cubs shirt on. And Freese, after the game when they met, he said, I'm not sure I'm going to let you in the clubhouse. So he got it. David has the baseball. Cooperstown has 2/3 of the jersey. The shredder, Nick Punto, shredded the jersey. And the Cardinals Hall of Fame has 1/3 of that jersey, which sits out there right now. So if you're coming down to the ballpark this weekend, you can take a look at that piece of history.
The shredder.
Nick Punto. Hamels on the first pitch. Pops it up. There's Johnny Peralta. 8-pitch inning. One of those pitches, though, sent over the wall in center. A home run for Odor. It's 1-0. Lemonade. It's available all summer long and only at McDonald's. Reminder that this Father's Day, treat dads with the new Papa Packs. 3-game packs features some of the best games and promotional giveaways. Matchups with the Cubs, Pirates, Mets, and more, all starting at just $84. Get yours now at cardinals.com/papa. Expecting a crowd tonight right around 44,000. Same for tomorrow and Sunday, Father's Day. 1-0 Texas. A beautiful night here in the Gateway City. Here's Yadier Molina. Mainstay of the 04 team that went to the World Series, the championship team of 06 and 11. Such a great story. Chris Carpenter approached Tony La Russa and wanted to hold a players only meeting, which, as you know, Tony didn't like that at all.
No.
Tony said, I'm going to let you do it, but only if you spread the message of urgency with our club. And Carpenter went in and said, I'll do that, but I'm also going to tell this team that this is embarrassing. That was the word that he used. He said, we should be embarrassed by what's happening right now in that stretch run. Molina hits a fly ball to left. And there's so many different sites that will give you the percentages of a team that has a chance to even get into postseason play. Most of the sites gave the Cardinals a 1% chance in late August getting into the playoffs. They won 34 of the final 50 games to get into postseason play. Won on the final night of regular season action. Atlanta lost. The Cardinals were facing elimination twice against the Phillies. Then they were not favored in the championship series against Milwaukee David Freese, by the way, hit .545 with 3 home runs against the Milwaukee Brewers in the championship series. And David wound up with 50 total bases and 21 RBIs in that postseason run.
Yeah, he got hot at the right time, didn't he? I mean, it was unbelievable. Everyone, we just see the home run and the triple. But like you said, 545 in the Milwaukee series. And just, I mean, it's one of those things, too. When you get hot, you get a week or two. It's not just like a couple of days. You get a 2-week window. Sometimes you get 3-week window. You see guys go on these hitting streaks. Not very often you get that in the postseason, and when you do, it is spectacular.
And we forget Game 7. Cardinals trailed early in that game until David Freese had a 2-run double. So not just Game 6, it was a sustained stretch run that he had. And it was Mark McGwire that went to Tony La Russa before one of the games against the Phillies, and there's a base hit. Maybe, yes, it drops into center field off the bat of Jerko. And David was not in the lineup against the Phillies in the division series. And Mark McGwire went to Tony La Russa and said, I noticed a technical flaw with his swing about his front leg. He said, I've been working with him. He's ready to bust out. Make sure you put him back in the lineup. And so Tony, on the way down, initially had him out, put him back in, hit a home run that night off of Roy Oswalt, and that's when the tear started.
Sometimes it's that little tiny thing, and Mark was so good at that too. And Mark's big thing about his game was so mental about how he wanted to approach the strike zone and what he wanted to do with a certain pitch, and how he just focused on hitting the ball up the middle. And he said your body will automatically take over when the ball's on the inside. You just don't rush. And such a good visual person to talk to as far as the teaching aspect of it. And he always helped me so much. And yeah, go in there, and a guy like that's talking to David Freese and get you on the right track. Yeah, you want to throw him in the game.
In the air off the bat of Randall Grichuk into shallow right. And the Cardinals center fielder is 0 for 2 tonight. Jerko back to the bag. What's on tap? Presented by Budweiser. And it'll be Carlos Martinez getting that call. You can see the game on FS1. We'll be back with you on Sunday afternoon. Mentioned that the Cubs won today, and that was with Jake Arrieta on the mound. Chicago is now 25 games above the 500 mark. We're not even to July.
Yeah, what they're doing right now is impressive. I didn't know if you know, you never know if a team can hold off. You always figure you're going to come back to reality, but they're doing a heck of a job.
We'll be in Chicago on Monday night. Cardinals will face Arrieta next Wednesday.
It's amazing to me that we have not been to Chicago yet.
It's amazing to me there are no weekend home dates with the Cubs here in St. Louis. First time in over 100 years that has happened.
Really?
Yep.
Someone finally got smart and tried to bring them in on a weekday to get a bigger crowd.
Still have great crowds for those games, but weekend dates always a little bit more special with the Cubs and Cardinals.
For sure. Those day games.
Yep.
What a good crowd we got here tonight. Friday night. Texas in town. Always loved the interleague play when you would bring in, or you would get to go to a team that you wouldn't see very often. And I think it's exciting for everyone to see something different.
4 strikeouts for Hamels. He's on tonight. We head to inning number 6. League Baseball is brought to you by T-Mobile. Jose Bautista spoke about him earlier in that fight he had with Odor. He's now on the DL, injured his big toe, collided with a wall. JD Martinez, a broken right elbow, and Jake Arrieta. He's now 11-1 with the win today. Overall, his ERA is 1.74. Arrieta at home, he's 4-1. He's got one home loss in the last 2 years, and his ERA is about a run and a half. Cardinals face Arrieta and the Cubs on Wednesday. #116th U.S. Open from historic Oakland Country Club continues tomorrow as they finish second round play starting at 6:30 Central on FS1, followed by regular third round play on Fox. You watch it all live on Fox Sports Go. You played Oakland yet?
No, I haven't had the privilege. I did play yesterday,
awesome.
And I thought I was going to die.
I played 36 yesterday.
You're in better shape than I am, apparently.
Yeah, right.
Played in the Mike Matheny Golf Challenge.
The 9-hole challenge.
The 9-hole. It was fun. It was just hot. Good thing we didn't play baseball yesterday.
Here's Shin Soo Choo. Looks at a breaking ball and a strike. He's 0 for 2. It's a diving catch by Grichuk in the first and also grounded out to second base. You can see where the Rangers would be a handful for a lot of teams looking ahead to the second half. They improved by 21 games last year from 67 wins to 88. They've kept that pace this year.
Well, just what you see tonight. You just see, I mean, take Prince out of the ordinary, being 196 right now. He's still a threat at any time. They have a solid team. Both sides of the plate, back and forth, athletic up the middle. And Ian Desmond's new in center field, athletic, big and strong. I mean, you just have a good team that can compete over the long haul. And I think, like we said earlier, when you're athletic, it gives you a chance to be competitive longer because you're not just stuck playing routine positions, and if someone goes down, you're out of luck.
Chevy Fox tracks, and there's the patented changeup from Michael Wacha and his 4th strikeout.
The old changeup. That's what you're looking for when you see Michael Wacha when he's on. That changeup is down in the zone. He threw one earlier to I think Prince Fielder that had good movement down, and then that one right there. When you see that and you see the ball in that pitch 95 and down and on the corners, then you know he's feeling good and he's throwing the ball where he wants to.
Ian Desmond, 3rd most hits in the American League. Hits it out of play. He's 0 for 2 tonight. Got off to a slow start as he made the transition to the outfield. But this guy can hit. He's always hit when he was with the Nationals and playing shortstop. His last 52 games, he's hitting close to 370. So that's nearly 2 months of work there.
I was downstairs talking to Prince, and he walked right up to me. Never met him. And he just introduced himself and said, hey, I don't know if you'd noticed, but I moved to center field, and you got any help? I need some help. What do you have for me? And I just kind of told him a few things, and I said, you probably already know this, but if you don't, this is kind of what I looked for, and especially if you're new, just follow your catcher, learn your pitchers, talk to your catcher and your pitching coach, and just learn every day. And it was nice because I don't know a lot of these younger players one-on-one like I used to, and it's just nice to see a young man like that was in the big leagues. He's hitting .312. You think he's got everything figured out, just going to go out there and play defense, no big deal, and yet he comes up and he's asking questions about how am I going to get better at this level.
It's interesting what you talk about, and I've heard you say it a number of times, and I've interviewed you or we've talked about it up here, how much you talk to your catcher, your pitcher, there's a good changeup, or the pitching coach, where most people on the surface, they say, well, you got to get good jumps and you've got to have the right positioning. But part of that positioning in the jumps is knowing what's coming from your pitcher and understanding how they're trying to get the opposition out.
Well, and I think I've said this a couple times, and I don't know if I've really explained it, but it's something when everything is in your brain and all the knowledge is there and you're paying attention, your body just does. And that's what I'm saying about your body just takes over. When the ball's down in the zone, your body knows not to really go after it as a hitter. When the ball's up, you kind of turn it up a notch.
Bizarre base hit. Really not hustling out of the box. If he is, could have turned that into 2.
Might have had a double there.
American Girl and the Cardinals teaming up on Monday, July 18th for an exciting theme night here at the ballpark. Fans who purchase that special theme ticket take home a Cardinals baseball t-shirt for their American Girl doll and a special offer from the American Girl store in St. Louis. Get your theme tickets now at cardinals.com/theme.
So back to what I was saying, I think that if you just put yourself in the right position and your mind is on track with what's going on in the field, your body will just take over.
Beltre hits it to the right side, trying to beat the ship. Nice play by Carpenter. Takes the hit away. Rangers have stranded 3, and they lead it 1-0. New triple bacon buttery jack today, limited time only at participating restaurants. And by the new 2016 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport. Beautiful night along with Jim Edmonds and Jim Hayes. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Odor's home run, the difference so far, 1-0 Texas on top. It'll be Carpenter, Diaz, and Holiday. So the top of the lineup here for the Cardinals. In his last start with the Philadelphia Phillies against Jake Arrieta and the Cubs at Wrigley Field, it was a no-hitter for Cole Hamels. And after that, he was traded away. First player ever to be traded in season after throwing a no-hitter. Threw a no-hitter against Chicago, traded to Texas. Now that has happened before, but not in season. The Hall of Famer Bert Blyleven, you may recall, threw a no-hitter for the Rangers, ironically enough, in his final start of a season. Then traded to Pittsburgh in that offseason. That was in 1977.
We were just young lads at that time.
Oh yeah, just trying to figure it all out. Then again, I still am.
Yeah, right. I saw Bert this winter, Blyleven. He's been great.
What a character.
Oh yeah, he gave me some great advice. He said a few things on the air that he probably shouldn't have, and he said, hey, do me a favor, just don't say what I said.
First pitch strikes, 16 of 19 for Cole Hamels. And on the other side, Michael Wacha, 19 of 22. Bert had one of those great curveballs. He told me last year he's the analyst for the Minnesota Twins. Said he picked up learning a curveball by listening to Vin Scully describe it out of the hand of Sandy Koufax. Isn't that something?
That's incredible. You don't think that, I mean, that just goes to show you, talking about paying attention and visualizing. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to get to the big leagues, and that doesn't tell you. So nothing will, but he was great, man. He's a pleasure to be around. He's a great man. Great pitcher.
Yep.
Pitched a long time. Can't imagine being able to listen to him every night in Minnesota. That would be a treat.
And he loves the game. Doesn't need to do this, doesn't need the money, but he just loves the sport of baseball. Diaz showing bunt, takes a ball, 2 balls and no strikes. Aledmus bounced into a 4-6-3 double play and also a fielder's choice. Hamels has been very good on the road this season. 4-0, only 1 loss overall, comes in 6-1. There's that changeup on a 2-0 pitch. To be able to spot that pitch, 2-0 in a 1-run game, that's what separates some of these guys from the others.
Well, that's the big league level. I think that literally these guys, the difference between the minor leagues and the big leagues is these guys can do it with every pitch at any time. And when you come up from the minor leagues, you learn that really quick. They usually give you a little break-in period where they just throw you fastballs away and try not to waste too many pitches. And then when they figure out you can hit, you start getting the 2-0 changeups.
Chu makes the catch. Carpenter draws the throw and back to the bag at first, and there's 1 down. This year, of course, the final year for Vince Scully in the booth, still doing games by himself in Los Angeles.
Some kind of treat, huh?
Awesome.
Did you get your picture? Did you take a picture with him when we were in LA?
I've done it years ago. Had the chance
this is
to
old news for you.
Visit with him a number of occasions.
It's amazing, you know, you say that, and I didn't think much of it, but when you really think about it, he's up there in the booth doing a game all by himself. And he's talking to the people like they're sitting next to him, like me and you are talking to each other, and no one else is around.
It's tapped foul by Holiday. Mentioned earlier how Holiday is the longest tenured left fielder in the game today. Matt came up in 2004 with the Rockies, then traded to the Oakland A's, then to St. Louis in July of 2009. Runner goes, and he hit that off his shin or his foot. Ouch.
And that does not feel good.
Matt had his big fundraiser last night over at Ballpark Village. Homers for Health, benefit the kids at Cardinals Glennon Children's Hospital. It's Adam Olson, the lead trainer for the Cardinals. Mike Matheny also out.
People got a kick out of that the other day. He talked about what that can feel like. It doesn't really look like much on TV. You can see fouls the ball off. It kind of hits the bottom of his shoe. And everyone thought it was pretty funny when I said, let me hit you with the bat in the shin, so you could see what it really feels like.
Not everybody.
Everyone but you.
Yeah. And what do? You go right back inside, and it's a strikeout of Holiday.
See the pitch right here. See if it's a strike. Not even close.
Second strikeout of Holiday in this game. He's 0 for 3. The Cardinals have just 2 hits so far. Single by Carpenter in the 4th. A broken bat single by Jerko in inning number 5. Here's Piscotty. He is walked and grounded out. And a check on Carpenter at first. When the Cardinals have faced teams above 500 like tonight, they are 10-17. Teams below 500, 22-13. And the Rangers, for the most part, have been the opposite of that. Here's a 1-0 to Piscotty. Cubs, Rangers, Indians, Orioles, and Nationals, some of the top teams in baseball so far. These are the numbers against teams above 500. Rangers 22-15.
I mean, look at the Cubs. I mean, you expect to play well against most teams, but to have that kind of record against the good teams, you don't see that very often.
Piscotty grounds out to third. Hamels is through 6. We head to the 7th, 1-0. $66, 8 gallons or more now until September 29th. Receive up to 50% off on a pair of tickets to a Cardinals home game. For more information, visit cardinals.com/Phillips66. Walker has pitched as well as we've seen in a long time. His start in Pittsburgh, he had 3 walks in that game, and here tonight he's allowed just 4 hits. The changeup has been really good. The fastball, you talked about it with that downward plane. And Fielder rips it foul. Fielder is bounced into a double play, struck out on a changeup back in the 4th inning. And the 0-1. Hits it the other way, and a base hit for Prince Fielder.
You know, it's funny when you watch a guy like Prince Fielder hit and you know the game a little bit, but you don't see him hit every day, and you watch that right there. He looks just like the regular Prince Fielder.
Yep.
Swung through a couple of pitches. He's got a lightning quick bat, sometimes too quick, through the zone a little too quick, but right there looked like the Prince Fielder of old.
Power Stats brought to you by Kubota. Updated with the home run hit earlier tonight by Odor. His 13th. Beltre with 10. Desmond, Mazzara, Moreland. So 5 players already in double figures in home runs. And a cutter misses inside. Jeff Bannister, the manager of the Texas Rangers in his 2nd year. Manager of the year in the American League in year 1. And prior to last season, he had spent 29 years in the Pirates organization. bench coach. Man, he saw some losing baseball for a long time.
I was thinking if he couldn't get to the big leagues with the Pirates, I can't believe he hadn't given up. But now look at him.
Here's a 1-0 and a foul ball. And the Pirates right now, they are struggling. Pittsburgh, they've lost 15 of 20 with their loss today at Wrigley Field. What puts it in perspective, they're only 2.5 in front of Milwaukee in the Central Division.
Things can change in a hurry.
Yep.
Especially when you're playing in the Central a lot.
Last weekend, it was just a week ago, they lost Garrett Cole and also Francisco Cervelli, their outstanding catcher. This pitch just missed. Plaza Tire Service replay shows just a bit inside.
About the same spot on the strike zone as Matt Holliday's pitch. Make you wonder sometimes when you're watching the game underneath.
But you've talked about it a lot. The positioning of the umpire. Holliday hitting from the right side, and you've got Odor hitting from this side of the plate, and the positioning of where the umpire aligns himself behind the catcher and how he's blocked on certain pitches.
And it depends on how far the catcher, I believe, moves inside too, because I don't think the umpire wants to really leave himself unprotected as much as possible, and you can see right there he is, but they got to move a little bit with the catcher, and if the catcher sets up far inside and they miss a little bit over the plate, which is still on the inside corner, he's going to have a different look than if the catcher sets up a little bit and has to reach for the pitch. So there's always going to be a blind spot there, but you would think that most of the time with the umpire on the inner half that he's going to get a really good look at the inside corner. The problem is, if like here, I think if you get too far to the inside, I mean, right down the middle to him is a foot inside.
Sure. Hard hit, but fielder back to the bag, and the line out by Odor. How did you get along with Joe West?
I got along with everybody until they threw me out.
Did he ever throw you out?
I don't know. I only got thrown out a few times, and one of them or two of them were basically sticking up for my teammates. A couple times just arguing balls and strikes, but I never was out there trying to show somebody up. There's a few guys that I just didn't have a lot of respect for because it seemed like certain umpires were the same guys over and over and over, were making the same mistakes. You know, some guys are just not good behind the plate. Some guys are better on the bases.
Get the lead man, and safe at first is Elvis Andrus.
It's a little frustrating when you're hitting and the same guy is always having a problem with the strike zone, and you would think that after a while they'd either make an adjustment or he would make an adjustment. But overall, most of those guys are really good guys, and they do a really good job, as we've seen this year with replay, that they're pretty much right all the time. Strike zone is a very touchy situation because you live and die at the plate as a player, and they say, well, you're taking their money out of your pocket, but I don't believe in that, because the average fan doesn't want to hear that. I just thought that that's your livelihood. This is why you're in the big leagues. You got to be able to hit, and if they're taking the bat out of your hands on pitches that you know are not strikes, you're going to be upset.
I'll never forget the night in Houston with Jerry Crawford behind the plate and pushing Mike Matheny. Do you remember that?
Yeah, our bench was going nuts, and I think Mike was trying to be polite, you know, and do the right thing, because it's a game with those guys. You don't want to get so frustrated with an umpire that you lose the strike zone for your team. So it's always a game. I remember La Russa, you know, saying to the hitters when they would come back complaining, and he said, that's okay. Our pitcher's better than their pitcher, and if the strike zone's the same, we're going to win this game. Let's look at it that way. So keep your head level when you go up there. So it's always a game. It's a frustrating game when you're the hitter, because you think you're out there to dry, but really you have sometimes to take it for the team, and other times you have to stand up for yourself and stand up for your players as a manager.
We were doing that game, and I caught it about the third or fourth inning, because Mike Matheny usually would never, as a player, say much at all. And a couple of times he turned around and got face to face with Jerry Crawford, and it wasn't a situation where he was fighting the strike zone. He was fighting the umpire, pushing him down.
He said he was literally pushing him to his knees.
Yeah.
When he was catching the ball.
And we would see that, and Major League Baseball, after that game, reviewed it, stepped in, and it was held privately, and there were some issues with that umpire, and players are brought in. And I've talked to Yachty about this, where umpires will put a hand on the back of the catcher, but it's just very light.
Very light. I think you want to know they're there. They want to know, you know, these just, I think it's for balance purposes, because when they squat down, they don't want to fall into you. They kind of just reach out to kind of get a grasp of where everybody is. I think that little bit of area behind that home plate for 9 innings is a very tense situation for a lot of these umpires. Playing first base, talking to the guy at first base, knowing that he had to be behind the plate the next day. Totally different personality.
See, very light there with the right hand. That's tapped foul.
That's something I would believe that as a catcher you're going to have to get used to, because that would irritate the heck out of me. I mean, you want to be able to feel like you can move around freely, and you want, sometimes, you know, if you see Yachty start off on the inside part of the plate with the man on second, then you'll shift during the at bat or during the pitch to kind of deke the runner from giving signs away. And if he's holding on to you or touching you, that's got to get frustrating.
On the outside corner, Walker picks up the strikeout number 6 tonight. Good ball game here at Busch Stadium. Time to stretch. Hit a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Well, here we are with interleague play. The Cardinals playing the American League West this season. And again, no Albert Pujols here at Busch. And it makes you wonder, will we ever see Pujols return to St. Louis?
Or in the wintertime.
We know that. He'll be there. But as a player, it'd be nice to recognize him one last time.
It took me 10 years to get back to Anaheim.
10 years.
10 years. Played with the Milwaukee Brewers one time there, and that was it. Every time that we played the Angels, they came here.
I'm sure the Rangers don't want to think about Albert Pujols wearing a Cardinal uniform. Last time they saw him, he had that monster Game 3 of the World Series. The 3-home run night as Peralta pulls it fair. Beltre takes his time and throws out Johnny Peralta.
Johnny Peralta, knowing he's a dead pull hitter, you can see Adrian pretty close to the line. Just such a good defender. Just nice and smooth. Catch the ball, take your time, throw it over there. No rush. I feel like when you watch guys that can really play defense, one thing they all have in common is just how smooth and under control they are.
Game isn't as fast, it seems like, for them.
And they don't make it as fast. They know they're under control. They know what they're doing. Like I said, they know what's going on. Your body just reacts.
2 balls and no strikes. Beltre very well could be headed to the Hall of Fame. His numbers are right there with some of the great third basemen that ever played. 2-0 pitch. Take it high. 3 balls, no strikes. That game for Albert Pujols, it wasn't just about the home runs. So he tied Reggie Jackson, Mr. October, and Babe Ruth. At that time, the only players that had hit 3 home runs in a World Series game. 3-1 pitch to Yadier Molina. Ground ball to short. Elvis Andrus, 2 down. It was a 16-7 win. He tied Paul Molitor for most hits in a World Series game with 5. He tied Bobby Richardson and Hideki Matsui for the most RBI with 6. Set the record for total bases with 14 that famous night in Texas.
You see the bench there just smiling away because they know. And I was going to say before they showed that highlight, only fitting at that point in his career that he hit 3 home runs in a World Series game. You mentioned those other names, but at that time we thought he was going to be a shoo-in for one of the best players of all time. And then, like you said, 3 homers in a World Series game between Reggie Jackson and Babe Ruth.
Reggie Jackson was called that night after it happened, and he said exactly what you're talking about. He said it's only fitting that if you're going to have that kind of night, it's a guy like Pujols. As Jerko taps it foul. Cardinals with just 2 hits tonight. One of those off the bat of Jerko back in the 5th with a broken bat soft liner to center and a base hit to center field by Carpenter. 8 ground ball outs for Cole Hamels. He has walked 3 tonight and he has struck out 5. And he's been very efficient. We talked about first pitch strikes, but a lot of innings. And talking with, some pitchers today and the pitching coaches, they say if you can have 15 pitch innings, that's ideal. Anything under 15, you're doing the job.
When he talked about, there we go real quick, but moving the ball around, but right there you see a lot of the pitches he's been throwing have been in the zone and out of the zone so quick, and nothing you can do with them.
6 strikeouts tonight. Strikeouts was 9 back in late April against the Arizona Diamondbacks. His career high is 10, and tonight he has struck out 6.
Thought that was my son for a second.
Those are the jerseys that were the gold plated around the names and the numbers. 2007.
That looked like a medium. I don't think that was a replica, as they say. That might have been a little bit smaller than the one I wore. No offense.
A changeup taken high. 1 ball, 1 strike on Cole Hamels. Tried to sacrifice back in the 3rd and bunted into an out, and also popped out to 3rd. Right-hander getting loose in the Cardinals pen. That's Seung-Hwan Oh. Catches the corner. And a strikeout. Number 7 tonight for Michael Wacha. So getting loose in the pen. Michael Wacha, you would figure, down by a run. This is his final inning of work. He's due up second for the Cardinals. From the Cardinals' perspective, though, you have to love what you're seeing from Michael Wacha tonight.
I was going to say, if this is it for him, he gets through this inning nice and smoothly. It's a really impressive start.
And a high fly ball. Lifted out to left. Holiday is under it, makes the catch.
The thing about Michael Wacha is when he's on and when he's off is you can see tonight he's thrown some balls up in the zone, but he's over the 8 innings or 7.5 innings. He's been down a lot and been moving the ball around. So when that occasional ball gets up in the zone, they don't get a really good swing at it or they pop it up. When he's up, even at 95, eventually guys are going to figure it out and start taking some bigger swings and letting it loose. And all the difference in the world is just a little bit erratic once in a while or kind of just too much up there. And tonight he's been all over the place as far as the zone works, and down, 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 and then every now and then up and gets away with it. And that's what good pitching's all about.
That's tapped foul. 1 ball, 1 strike on Ian Desmond. It's Doug Brocale, the pitching coach. We saw him pitch in the National League with the Astros. First year with Texas. Here's a 1-1. Good fastball, still throwing hard. That pitch at 96.
And that's kind of what I'm talking about. Through the first pitch was up in the zone. Good change up down and then right back with 96.
Here's a 1-2. Again at 96. Talked about Hamels being economical here tonight. Well, here we are in the top of the 8th and only 97 pitches for Wacha.
They've both done a tremendous job tonight of quick innings, throwing a lot of strikes.
The changeup foul.
Putting your defense to work. A lot of ground balls. Not much different than the guy on the other side right there.
Not at all. Most he has thrown was 17 pitches. That's when he had 2 strikeouts and inning number 4, which will get a pitch count up. 3 straight fastballs. All 3 have been at 96. 2 balls and 2 strikes. We know about the Cardinals pinch hitters. They have been the best in the game this year. 10 pinch hit home runs, a .379 average, and we'll see one coming up in the bottom of the 8th. Went with a changeup on 3-2. To make room, by the way, for Colton Wong, who was brought back up, Jeremy Hazelbaker was sent down. And the 3-2. He walked him. Once again, a reminder, Major League Baseball returns to FS1 with an interleague showdown between the Rangers and Cardinals at 3. Then it's baseball night in America. The Pirates and the Cubs at 7. And you can see that on Fox, also Fox Sports Go. Just the second walk issued by Michael tonight. 2-out walk to Desmond. Now Mazzara. This guy's got big time power. That's what he was signed for. Little surprised on both ways. Either you bring in the left-hander to face him if you're concerned with Walker, but he's still throwing hard and he's been efficient here tonight, so you stay with him.
Yeah, you stay with him. There's really no reason to bring O in here.
Walker can't get to it, and neither can Peralta. And a heads-up play here. Runners at the corners. Desmond read it all the way, and it brings in Beltre.
The ball right there reminded me of the game that he pitched. Was it his first game or one of the games early in his career where he gave up almost through the no-hitter? And
2
that
outs.
was almost like the other one's a high chopper, but it ended up being the same type of ball right there.
It was 2 outs against Washington.
Yes.
And Pete Kozma came in. It was Ryan Zimmerman at the plate, and that's what broke up the no-hitter with 2 outs.
The bat, spinning, bouncing.
Desmond heads up play. That'll be it for Walker, and a nice ovation for him. Is not allowed a run in his last 8 innings. What a year he's had. 34th appearance, ERA of 1.57. Look at all the strikeouts, 47 of them. He's been one of the top relievers in all of baseball.
That sneaky fastball and the good slider. Still remember watching him in spring training, and everyone was talking about his fastball and couldn't tell if it was going to be good enough and was it straight. And the best line I heard all year is Mike Matheny saying as soon as he gets into the regular season, they'll let you know if he's good enough.
Right.
Because the hitters will let you know. And he's been everything as good as advertised right here. And it's been fun to watch because he just goes out there and throws, hits spots, sneaky fastball, good slider, like I said, and just goes out there and does his job.
He gets one tough customer here in Beltre. That pitch was up. But again, it's those late swings. That pitch, a slider or cutter at 85.
And you can see that was even by him.
It's also a situation, too, Jimmy, where this is the first time these hitters have seen him across the league. As Molina sets up outside and Beltre pops it foul out of play.
Well, you see a lot of video. You can tell Adrian Beltre's probably watched a little bit of video, and you can tell he's ready to hit, because as soon as he got up there, he knows that O's going to throw strikes and he's ready to go. So even there, still late on the fastball.
There's a look at his arsenal, the Hyundai pitch arsenal. Nice play by Molina. Talk about it a lot. The ability to throw this pitch at 1-2 and know that your catcher will stop it with a runner at third.
Adrian better heads up right there. He might get a pickoff attempt at third right through his chest.
The 2-2 pitch. 0-2 Beltre. Broken bat and a foul ball. Derek Lilliquist, Eugene Koo in the center, Mike Matheny there on the left.
Eugene made the trek from the bullpen down to the clubhouse, down to the dugout. Looks like he's getting in better shape from all the running he's been doing. I talked to him about that in Milwaukee. I said, is he killing you yet? He goes, well, a little bit, but it's making me want to go out there and run a little bit more each day. Keep up with him.
Beltre pops it up. Who wants it into shallow center? It'll be Carpenter makes the catch. O strands 2. Walk-up, 103 pitches tonight, and it's a 1-0 lead. He's 1-2 right now, and by your local Volkswagen dealer. Along with the Cardinals Hall of Famer Jim Edmonds, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Jim Hayes is here. In Texas, 13-4 in one-run games. Right now they own a one-run lead. Cardinals, 7th inning or later, have outscored their opponents by 57 runs. That's the most by a wide margin. First pitch popped up off the bat of Grichuk. And Beltre makes the catch, and there's one away. Randall is 0 for 3. And it brings in Matt Adams. Matt Adams, the best average of any pinch hitter in the game. 571 as a pinch hitter coming into play.
Pretty much the reason why they left Cole Hamels in the game, knowing they got a couple lefties coming up. Matt Adams on the bench, bunch of lefties down there waiting. Leave him in the game. His pitch count still at 88. I look for Matt Adams to be aggressive right here and pick out fastball cutter out over the plate and go ahead and let it fly.
He's 8 for 14, couple of home runs, and he looks at a ball inside. Cooled off just a bit. 1 for his last 12. There are the numbers as a pinch hitter. In his career, Cole Hamels 15 complete games, none this season. And he's never done that against St. Louis. Broken bat on a hop hit to Beltre. Slings it over to first for out number 2. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the content descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cardinals. Two outs, and here is Carpenter. He has walked twice. '27 of Carpenter's 41 walks have come with nobody on. Third most in baseball. 2 more of those tonight. One ball, 1 strike.
Something that he's used to doing, going up there, taking a lot of pitches, getting a good look, getting everyone else a good look, getting a chance to get on base for the guys behind him.
And the 1-1 pitch to Carpenter. Had him out in front. It's popped up. Beltre, foul territory, and out of room. And this is where Matt Carpenter is so tough with 2 strikes on him. He's hitting .254, and you say, well, it's .254. League average .178.
A lot of guys are hitting .250 in this league and making a lot of money.
Yeah. Grichuk swung at the first pitch. Adams was retired. Only 7 pitches here in the 8th thus far for Cole Hamels. The 1-2 pitch from the lefty. How close was it?
Wow. Really close.
And the 2-2. Carpenter breaks his bat and singles to left. He's on base for the 4th time tonight and has 2 of the 3 Cardinal hits. Takes that borderline pitch just before this base hit.
Just stays on it long enough just to get a bat on the ball, pushing it through the other way. Just got to get the bat on the ball and good things will happen.
That'll be it for Cole Hamels. And Matt Bush, what a story he has been, comes in. It's our Chevy call to the pen. here tonight, right around that 100 pitch mark. No runs allowed. An incredible story. Matt Bush, former #1 overall pick. Rowe began in 2004 as a shortstop, drafted by San Diego. Had a ton of off the field issues, spent time in jail. He was in a work release program, and because of this big arm, and you'll see it, he throws hard. He was at a job at a local Golden Corral, and Roy Silver, a special assistant of player development, paid him a visit. And he would get catcher's gear at the Golden Corral, and he'd throw to him in just a t-shirt and sneakers. They said, well, the arm is still there. Let's give you another chance. Went to the minor leagues, and here he is making the big leagues. Finally, after being that first overall pick as a shortstop. 2 outs, runner at first. That's Carpenter, and this is Aledmys Diaz at the plate. Diaz is 0 for 3. He is yet to allow a home run. Opponents hitting just .207 against him. The 0-1. Now 0-2.
Just to give you a little respect factor for even Aledmys Diaz, who's such a young player in this league. The guy comes in that has a plus fastball and throws him a slider and a changeup. The first 2 pitches with two outs, and basically the bottom of the 8th inning right here with the guy on first.
Here's the 0-2, and Diaz hits it in the air out to shallow center. Hamels a chance to win this game tonight. Bush gets Diaz, sends us to the 9th. As we move to the top of the 9th, or Chevy called to the pen. He takes over for O, who stranded 2 runners in relief of Michael Wacha, gave up just 1 run. That was a home run to Odor. 30th appearance for the lefty. Mitch Moreland will pinch hit for Fielder. We'll see Odor, then Elvis Andrus. Moreland, one of those that we showed earlier that is in double digits for home runs. He's got 10 this year. First pitch by Segrist is hit foul and out of play. Over 44,000 here tonight. And the 0-1. Cardinals will have the heart of the order coming up. Looking ahead to the bottom of this inning with Holiday, Piscotty, and Peralta. The 1-1. Good breaking ball. Kevin pitched the other night, threw a curveball. The first time that a home run had been hit against that curveball all season long. It just came at the wrong time.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. He's been pitching so well, and like you said, working on that curveball. Good to see that he's not frustrated by it. He's still using it and not really affected by it a whole lot. That's a tough thing, because obviously second guessing is the nature of this game. And you know, the first thing that people say is, well, he throws 97, he's got this, he's got that, and then you go and get beat on this pitch. But you have to use your pitches for everything else to be effective. And every now and then you're going to give up a home run.
3-2.
I mean, it is the big leagues, and that's why everyone is here. And equal playing field. No matter how good you are, you're going to give it up.
What I find to be amazing is that a pitcher makes a mistake, and at this level, majority of the time, not every time, majority of the time, these guys will make you pay. On the outside corner, and a strikeout of Moreland to start the night. Just caught the black of home plate.
Ball looks live a lot harder than 93 miles an hour. And the short arms, really easy movement. Seems to just throw darts in there from the left side. Doesn't look like he'd be a lot of fun to face.
One out, nobody on. One ball, no strikes on Odor. Ground ball hit to first. Adams stayed in the game, steps on the bag for the out. He's using the Adrian Beltre bat.
Sometimes you take up a bat like he might have done tonight, hit a homer, and it just stays with it. That happens more than you think.
When you got tired, you know, let's say in August, September, did you go to a lighter bat?
You know what I did is when I received my bat order, I weighed them all, and I put the heavier ones on one side and the lighter ones on the other, and I just kind of mentally knew one was a half an ounce lighter than another. And it's funny because the mental part of this game is so strong that even in June you start to migrate towards the one side of your bat rack and start pulling out lighter bats, and once you do that, you really don't go back.
There's a high fly ball lifted out to deep left field. That'll stay in the park. There's Holiday. We head to the bottom of the ninth. And the heart of the order coming up for St. Louis. That's Holiday, Piscotty, and Peralta. Texas 2, Sam Dyson, who's converted his last 11 save opportunities. He's given up just one home run this year, and that was back on April 23rd against the White Sox. Todd Frazier took him deep. And he's a young man that gave up the home run and the bat flip to Bautista in last year's division series. Doesn't walk many, didn't do so last year. Dyson was penciled in to be the primary setup man. Sean Tolleson. That was a year ago. Now working at the back end of games and doing a very good job. Cardinals down by a run, and here is Holiday. First pitch, a strike at 96. Holiday is 0 for 3 tonight with a pair of strikeouts.
It's crazy you see Kevin Seagrass throw and ball seems like it's jumping out of his hand and he's throwing 93, and then this young man is nice and smooth and easy and free and looks nice and just kind of throwing it up there, and it's 96, 95, 96.
One away. Career ERA at 2.99, and this season just over 2. Took over for Tolleson as the closer, and he's done a great job. That pitch at 97. You're right, that ball just jumps out of his hands.
Really effortless.
Piscotty has walked. Pair of groundouts. 0 for 2. The 2-0 pitch is hit out of play. We saw him pitch in the National League. He was with Miami. Also pitched for the Blue Jays. Line foul. Huh. Nice play by the ball boy man. Yeah, ball boy.
I'm going to have to go with whoops.
That's a good play.
I think that ball caught him. What do you think?
I know where you're going with that. Oops. I'm going to give him credit.
That was a heck of a play, nonetheless.
1-2. Ground ball. Couple of hops to second. 2 down. We turn to tonight's Budweiser player of the game. No surprise here. 7 2/3 of shutout baseball from Cole Hamels. As good as advertised. This guy is tough, isn't he?
Definitely was. He moved the ball around. He made it tough on the righties by burying sliders and fastballs in on their hands and changeups away, and just moved the ball around. Was very efficient and kept everybody off balance.
Here's Johnny Peralta. Cardinals down to their final out. Peralta is 0 for 3. He's lined out, flied out, grounded out. Line to second, and that's how the game comes to a close. The man who picked up the only run with a home run. Odor finishes the game with a great leaping catch, and the Rangers win it 1-0. Good ball game. Only 3 hits, though, for the Cardinals tonight.
You said it, Cole Hamels moved the ball around, kept them off balance. Just 1 home run was all they needed. 1 run for the Rangers. Michael Wacha pitched a good game. Just a pitching duel, just like what we said at the beginning. Good night for pitching.
It's the second 1-0 loss for the Cardinals this year. They've dropped 3 in a row. Our next telecast is Sunday. A lot more to go, though, with the postgame show next.